a lot of the skills from his jungling prowess able to translate well over to this Janna pick. And here we go, Game 5, TSM versus oRB. I am so excited about this, not just because it is tied 2-all, but because, number one, we get to see xSpecial mid, and I have heard many things about xSpecial mid, and I heard he was a real terror back in his day, and as well, having seen Kaox in the solo queue on the jungle, I just can't wait, chat.
Yeah, and I actually want to see this xSpecial versus Navi Poohbear mid because Navi Poohbear is really good at Ryze, and in the games that oRB won, he did a really, really good job against Reginald. So if xSpecial can do something to Navi Poohbear, it'll really show how good xSpecial is, even though he plays supports, right? Supports have a negative stigma a lot of times in competitive. It's like, oh, you're playing support because you can't play other things. It's like you just don't last hit. You walk around and ward. Like, support's actually really hard, and a lot of really good players do play support. And that's what xSpecial is hopefully going to prove in this game.
Yeah, and going back to your point about TSM being, having been at this level for so long, TSM and CLG are two of the oldest teams. I believe the players like Reginald, Dyrus, and HachaGG have all been in the game since the beta. So seeing these players really build these powerhouse teams is not as surprising, and it's great to see them going back to some of their old roles, because xSpecial, as you said, for a lot of Season 1, did play a lot of AP mid. So only towards the end did he really start transitioning into that support role. So here we go, Game 5, TSM versus oRB. oRB starting off so aggressive. They've got the Lee Sin, they've got the Blitzcrank, they've got the Ryze snare, and it looks like we're having some disconnect, reconnect issues from TSM. Hopefully that'll be getting sorted out.
Yes, I definitely hope so.
Meanwhile, oRB taking advantage of that. They're setting up a little bit unfortunate for TSM, especially because they really enjoy those level 1 fights. So to not be able to get that fight in, really a bit of a problem. And yes, we do have a pause going down. So
yeah, to be fair though, oRB's not abusing this. They realize that this is a sportsman-like scrim. They're not running in and taking a blue buff or a red buff like you might see a team do in a tournament. They're pausing the game, letting them recover. They'll all get back in. We're going to see probably very standard jungle routes from both teams. That's not a bad thing. That just means the game's going to be much more controlled. Good, and just going on that actually, really good sportsmanship from both teams this entire tournament. Every game has started on time. There's been no poor manner. Like, they're just pretty much all just practicing very well together is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and a lot of these players, I mean, they play together all the time in solo queue. When at this level, they are seeing each other all the time. So there is a lot of professional respect between these players, and it's really nice to see both teams showing that professional respect. They both want to win, but at the end of the day, they are respecting the other team, and that's great to see.
Yeah, and we actually see another lane swap here, and forget what I said about passive level 1 there. They actually took a double golem, just one of them, as Janna Ezreal top lane, yet another lane swap. So not only are they doing a role swap, they're doing a lane swap, and on top of that, we have York mid.
Yep, looks like Dyrus is going to be taking that solo mid, and Kaox grabbing red right away, and xSpecial going for that bot lane. We see an immediate 2-on-1 Yuzuki going in, putting some pain down on Dyrus. Man, that Darius hurts, especially level 1. So top lane, we have Blitzcrank Graves and Yuzuki. As you mentioned, if Yuzuki gets in range with that hook, he's going to be able to hurt, and Dyrus may not be able to respond to that.
Yeah, so a little bit of early aggression there by Dyrus, making him chug through health potion really early on there. He didn't expect Yuzuki to just come flying out of the jungle on him. xSpecial hit level 2 right away in bottom lane, gets the stun on a Navi Poohbear, and he's actually going to go for a kill immediately. Oh, man.
And that is going to be a first blood 1-for-1 exchange. However, I think that was worth it.
Yeah, I think he would definitely say worth it, especially if the creeps in the bottom lane can get to the tower before Navi Poohbear gets down there. It's definitely a win for xSpecial there. Super aggressive play, good to see.
Yeah, xSpecial really showing his talent as a former AP mid player, going for those Doran's Blades early, so he's going to be trying to chunk out Ryze. As you mentioned, Ryze is a little vulnerable early, and Reginald just trying to make something happen. Great flash from Nien, but will Reginald be able to take him out? Yes, he will. Actually, Odd One's going to take that kill, and they may potentially be able to take this Lemonation as well. No, it looks like Lemonation is going to back out.
Oh, and here comes a gank in mid from Chaos and Dyrus.
Yeah, looks like Dyrus has the Ignite going down on Yuzuki. There's the Ignite flash out, but Dyrus is going to follow. Will they be able to take him out? Chaos going for the dive. Dyrus will be able to take him out, but not before taking out Chaos. And unfortunately, because of that, Chaos loses his double buff. So maybe a little aggressive from Chaos, but great job from Dyrus to finish that kill off.
I think for the most part he'll be okay with that, though. The main issue with dying with double buffs is who you give the double buffs to. But since he got posthumously killed by Yuzuki, that's not that big of an issue. There's a whole flurry of action there, actually. I wanted to point out Reginald's crazy good reaction. E-ing right in place. I see a lot of Ezreals do this now. They can E right in front of someone to guarantee their skill shots land. And then right after that, just flashing the Blitzcrank hook perfectly. It was quite impressive.
Yeah, and speaking of, we actually just saw Dyrus, great reactions, using the minion as a blocker for that Lee Sin resonating strike. So, and all credit to TSM, they're up about 1,000 gold already in this match, about 4 minutes, 40 seconds in.
Yeah, so even though they've been trading kills, when you kind of tower dive and kill someone in the tower, that usually means that your wave was pushed up and that the other guy is going to lose minions to the tower, therefore losing gold. So when they trade those kills, they're also making the other guy lose a lot of gold from minions and experience.
Yeah, and we see, it looks like X-Special is going to potentially be able to get a... No, he will not be able to get the stun, but a fantastic max range hook from Lemonation. Odd One takes one tower and is able to get out. Meanwhile, Chaos trying to duel against Yuzuki. That Darius hitting pretty hard early game. He does have a Doran's Blade already. He actually grabbed a mana potion as well, and it looks like Dyrus with that mana crystal and amplifying tome is potentially going to go for an early Sheen.
Yeah, he very well could. Darius tries to close in and brawl a lot of the times, and York would have a good time trading back with that. You normally see kind of Manamunes or gold per 10 items on York, and this could definitely be a divergent path for Darius. I'm interested to see what he finishes off at.
Yeah, definitely. That Tear of the Goddess, a real great grab because... Oh, and there's the hook from Yuzuki, but, man, that hit from Dyrus, just able to chunk him down, slow him, and just walk out. And High trying to make something happen with that Lee Sin mobility, but not really able to do anything with it. So all credit to Dyrus for staying alive in what seems to be a 1v2 right now. And High taking a tower hit, maybe a little too aggressive. Dyrus 28 minion kills to 28 minion kills for Yuzuki. The only difference being that one death from Yuzuki. Odd One, great pink ward, so it looks like they have map awareness advantage, and it's going to be pretty difficult to gank that top lane, especially with that crowd control and the jump from, as speaking of jumps, 3 people jumping on Dyrus, the exhaust going down, and Nubby Pooh Bear will take him out. Great roam from Nubby Pooh Bear, and taking... It took 3 members of Orbit to take out that Dyrus.
Yeah, that was still a really good gank. I was just about to say the game's kind of stagnating a little bit. We have really awkward mids, because it's kind of just like, not only is mid full of top laners, bot is full of top laners. No, how do I put this? Bot is full of mid laners, and then top is bot laners. And it's just creating a really strange effect on this game. So the fact that there are melees in the mid lane means it is much more vulnerable to the ganks, which is I think why the junglers are actually camping mid. So it might not necessarily be the lane that creates so many people to camp top. It's the fact that they are melee characters that have to commit. And the fact that Dyrus was a little bit committed there, it was punished and collapsed on very well by Orbit there to even up the kill score.
Yeah, and it looks like Yuzuki's taking advantage of that, pulling ahead about 10 minion kills. Meanwhile, bottom lane X-Special doing really well to try to contain that rise. However, Nubby Pooh Bear is 2-1, and he does have that Tear of the Goddess, so he is only going to get stronger the more spells he's using. As you mentioned, his abilities do stack with mana. Chaos trying to go and make something happen. However, High does see him with that cripple. Will he be able to steal it? No. High will get the smite down. Chaos ulting in, but he is potentially in a heap of trouble. Ooh, Yuzuki missing the hook. But the exhaust going down and a great ultimate from Reginald. However, now, a 3v3 situation. Great knockup from the Odd One. Nien getting ignited. Reginald dropping him. And Lemonation now in a 3v1 exchange. Yuzuki trying to make something happen, but it looks like that's going to be a double kill for Reginald as Dyrus dives him with his ultimate. Yuzuki ignited. Great 3-0 exchange for TSM.
Yeah, a really good counter jungle there by Chaos, and that just kind of goes to show Team Solo Mid's knowledge of counter jungling, even though Odd One is extremely good at it, is really a team-wide effort, because even though everyone has swapped off roles, they still extremely comfortably grouped up and crushed Orbit within their own jungle. Despite the fact that High was able to get the red buff from Chaos, he was not able to escape the wrath of TSM's entire team collapsing in there and picking up, I think, 3 kills in that whole exchange.
Yeah, actually, Reginald was actually able to pick up a double kill in that exchange as well, so he's going to be able to snowball that lane. He is 2-0, 57 minion kills to an 0-2 Graves with 47 minion kills, so Reginald really starting to pull ahead, and that ultimate from Reginald was brilliant. The exhaust going down from Chaos, and then Reginald able to chunk out Lee Sin. And meanwhile, bottom lane, we see X Special 1-1, 55 minion kills. Speaking of that ultimate, Reginald using it to farm out, once again using the utility of those ultimates, instead of just being able to put a lot of aggression down, using it to put pressure through the minions, indirect pressure almost, as we see Chaos getting hooked by Yuzuki. Lee Sin's gonna try and make something happen with it, but X Special is there. He is 6. There's the ultimate. However, the dunk going down from Yuzuki. It's a 3-on-1. Will High be taken out? Yes, X Special will be able to
the last
take
tick.
High. Great play. Dyrus, however, is coming in. Will he be able to turn this around? He's gonna go onto Yuzuki. However, he is snared and exhausted. X Special's gonna come in, get the stun down on both of them. It looks like Dyrus is just gonna walk away from that, but not before Nubby Pooh Bear giving X Special a little bit of a love tap. Speaking of X Special, he is 2-1, 56 minion kills to a 2-1, 45 minion kill Nubby Pooh Bear. Great play from X Special in this bottom lane.
That was actually quite a series of events there. I need to kind of gather my thoughts a little bit. The Darius roaming down, very, very strong, and he just showed how powerful he was. Darius walked in at full health. We were kind of expecting him to turn something around, and the amount of burst damage coming out, from Nubby Pooh Bear and Yuzuki in the brush, as well as just there, was so, so high. So Rise starting to power up a little bit. 3-1. That, if anything, is going to be what presents TSM with the most trouble as this game progresses, would be a really big Rise.
Yeah, definitely. 10 minutes, 30 seconds. TSM ahead, 7 kills to 5, 13,900 gold to 12,100 gold. So they have a bit of an advantage, but as you mentioned, Rise so scary when he gets that Tear of the Goddess fully loaded, and it looks like he's potentially building into a Glacial Shroud with that with the cloth armor and the mana crystal. But it'll be interesting to see. It looks like he's building full resistances. We see a Negatron cloak, cloth armor, in addition to that Tear of the Goddess and the mana crystal. So really exciting to see what Nubby Pooh Bear has in store for us with that rod.
Yeah, and this game, despite it being kind of 7 kills to 5, does feel a little bit disjointed. And I think it's just the fact that the lanes have been swapped around so much. The dynamic of having a really heavily warded 2-man top lane, and then having 2 ranged escapers in the bottom, and then just having solo melees is really creating a lot of strange plays. We've seen a lot of actually roaming mid and bottom and no attention paid to top, which is something that kind of used to happen maybe a year ago when no one decided to gank top before they realized how good it was. And yeah, here comes another roam bottom, and Nubby Pooh Bear is in big trouble.
Yeah, the exhaust going down on a Nubby Pooh Bear, and X Special actually having a needlessly large rod. As we look mid, the kick going down onto Dyrus. Dyrus is going to try and turn this around onto Yuzuki. Will it be enough? He does have a couple more seconds. Will he go down? Going for the dive, and it looks like he will drop Yuzuki with a little bit of health left. Exhaust going down. Meanwhile, top lane on Reginald. Reginald will get the exhaust onto Nien. Reginald will get a killing spree onto Lemon Nation. Will they be able to turn this around on Nien? Looks like they will. That's a double kill for Reginald. Great play all around from TSM.
Yeah, and Reginald just showing how much he can shine on Ezreal. Straight up aggression play from mid lane, translating very easily into aggressive AD carry play on Ezreal. He just went right into the face of Graves. Normally you'd think that's an extremely bad idea because he's going to buckshot you in the face, but it allowed him to land all of his skill shots, get the attack speed stacking up from his passive, and then once he got that Janna shield, he just kind of ripped